What is poppin' YouTube world? My name is Ghiman Mckinney. Appreciate all you guys for tuning into the channel today. Be sure to smash this like button right now if you're rocking with your boy. Subscribe to this channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. And turn on post notifications too so you don't miss a single video. It's only right, guys. I appreciate all you guys that pretty much watch all my team previews for pretty much the NFL and college football. You know, it's been a long process for me making all these videos. I probably made over 50 of these videos. You know, be sure that if you like other teams besides the Michigan Wolverines, which is the team we are going to discuss today in this video, be sure to check out my NFL and college football playlist where I have previewed and broken down a ton of college football and a ton of NFL teams. Actually, all 32 NFL teams. I've done a good number of pretty much a lot of big Power 5 college teams as well. So be sure to check out those teams on my playlist. Links will be in the description. Okay, but today we're breaking down the Michigan Wolverines. Okay, I will go game by game on the Michigan Wolverines schedule, pretty much like I did in pretty much every single video that I've done. And we'll see where Michigan can win games in 2019. We'll see if they can lose games in 2019, and we'll answer the big question if they can just finally beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. Because disclaimer, yeah, you need to beat Ohio State. I mean, pretty much everyone's saying, when is Jim Harbaugh going to finally pull through and beat Ohio State? You know, your job description at Michigan is to beat Ohio State, okay? If you don't do anything, if you lose all your games and you beat Ohio State, you know, if that's the only win you have on the season, then you've done at least a serviceable job that year, okay? Michigan fans just want to be competitive. They want to beat Ohio State, and they obviously want to make the next big step and make the college football playoffs. And honestly, I think Michigan actually has the team to do it. Okay, now, am I saying they're going to do it? Well, we'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about these games here soon. But I want to talk about what Michigan brings in this year, kind of what they did last year. We'll get into all that stuff. So Michigan last year had a pretty good year, even though, well, in reality, wasn't what you wanted. Okay, but either way, you went 10-3. You lost to Notre Dame on the road in a tough road environment, the first game of the season, but really not too much shame in losing to Notre Dame. I do think you guys were the better team last year, but again, it was at Notre Dame. It was the very first game of the season. You can excuse that loss, and Notre Dame did go undefeated and make the college football playoffs. They exceeded to get absolutely curb stomped and mollywopped in the college football playoffs by the eventual national champion Clemson Tigers. Notre Dame is 0-6 in their last 6 bowl games. Not a very good program to me, okay? Just kidding. Either way, then you obviously run college football pretty much after that Notre Dame loss. I think you reel off 9 or 10 straight wins, something close to that, okay? But then you go to the Ohio State Buckeyes house and get absolutely mollywopped, curb stomped, and just beat to shreds. Dwayne Haskins, their offense pretty much just ran roughshod all over you guys. You guys didn't manage to score 39 points, but again, a lot of those points were some garbage time points. You know, you gave up 62 points. I mean, a program that's just embarrassing. That was a look. I picked Ohio State to win that game. You know, I thought Ohio State would win the game, but again, the fact that Michigan, who prides themselves on defense, okay, that's what Michigan's bread and butter is: running the ball and playing very good defense. The fact that you gave up 62 points to Ohio State is just bad. That's bad. You shouldn't be giving up 62 points to anyone in a college football season. You know, with the talent you guys had last year on defense. I mean, you had Rashawn Gary, you had Chase Winovich, you had Devin Bush, you had David Long, okay? And then, obviously, after that, you pretty much were a half team. A lot of your players sat out. You know, did the players care in that game? I don't know. But then you went and got curb stomped and mollywopped again. And I think Florida is still scoring points on Michigan right now. Florida absolutely beat you down as well. So last 2 games of the season pretty much put a black hole on the whole Michigan season, because honestly I think Michigan had a solid year. But again, the last 2 final games were not very good showings. And is Jim Harbaugh on the hot seat? Is he not? Well, to me personally, I don't think Michigan fans feel he's on the hot seat. But again, you know, after this year, if he does not beat Ohio State, I think he's going to have to be, because what are you doing? I mean, I just don't know. Now, obviously, this year you returned 8 stars on offense, 5 on defense. You do lose Devin Bush. You do lose Rashawn Gary. By the way, I'm excited for Rashawn Gary because I'm a Packers fan. I hope Rashawn Gary does well. You lose Chase Winovich. You lose Karan Higdon, your very good stud running back from a year ago. And you lose David Long. Those are the big key players you lose. That's very key, because on defense, you know, you pride yourself on defense. You arguably lose your 4 best players on defense from the past year. Okay, David Long, one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football. I think he was a very underrated player last year. Devin Bush obviously went in the top 12 in the draft of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rashawn Gary went a couple picks after to the Green Bay Packers. And Chase Winovich went to the New England Patriots. So all those guys are going to be playing in the NFL. Those are NFL players you lose. You have recruited at a pretty high level, but again, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's going to be hard to replace that production with a couple players, okay? It's going to need to be a team effort for other players to step up, in my opinion, okay? Now, to me, your defense won't take a major step back just because, you know, you have Don Brown, a very good defensive coordinator. He's one of the best in the game, in my opinion, okay? But if your defense does take a slight step back this year, the positive side is that this is going to be the best offense, in my humble opinion, that Jim Harbaugh has ever had at Michigan, okay? There's no reason for Michigan to not score points. There's no reason for Jim Harbaugh to be saying, man, I handicapped Shea Patterson today, or Michigan fans saying, man, this play calling is handicapped. We're not airing the ball out. There's no more excuses, okay? You brought in Josh Gaddis this year to be the offensive coordinator from Alabama. He obviously has a lot of experience. I think he's definitely going to provide some great things for Michigan's offense. You have Nico Collins, you got Tariq Black, you got Donovan Peoples-Jones. The way Michigan fans talk about these wide receivers, you think they're the best thing coming. Not going to say they're the best thing coming, but again, they're definitely 3 NFL wide receivers. Michigan definitely not lacking at the wide receiver position, okay? They have They have 3 legit playmakers at wide receiver, okay? So Michigan, they got Shea Patterson, who returns for his senior season, okay? Had a pretty good year last year in the Jim Harbaugh offense. I think this year he will be a Heisman candidate. I do think he will step up this year, and the offense will be a lot better than it was last year, at least as far as passing the ball, okay? So I think Michigan's offense is going to be on the uprise. Again, this is the best offense, like I said, that Jim Harbaugh has had the past couple of years. Now, again, you do lose Karan Higdon, who was a very good running back last year. But again, Michigan pretty much just plugs anybody at running back, and they're pretty much going to do well. You do have a very good offensive line. Your offensive line is a strength of your team. I do think the offensive line will be pretty good. Wide receiver and offensive line. If I had to pick 2 units on the team that are very strong for Michigan, those are the 2 strongest units. So, without further ado, let's jump into Michigan's schedule, okay? So, let's go over the first, let's go over the first 6 games of the season. Yeah, let's go over the first 6 games. Because these are all cupcakes. These are all wins, in my opinion. Okay, Middle Tennessee is a win. Army's a win. At Wisconsin is a win. Rutgers at home's a win. Iowa at home's a win. And Illinois on the road is a win. Listen, none of these teams are as good as Michigan. They're just not, okay? The toughest opponent, I would say, is at Wisconsin. Now, again, could you lose this game? Yes. I would not be shocked if Michigan just chokes and loses this game. I won't be shocked, okay? But, again, the Wisconsin's strength is pretty much Michigan's strength as well. Michigan always has a very good run defense. You know, Wisconsin loves to run their offense through the running back, Jonathan Taylor. Okay, they run the offense through the running back pretty much every year. They always have a very good offensive line. Their offense is predicated on running the football. Now they do have some solid wide receivers. Danny Davis is a guy to look out for this year. I think he will break out for Wisconsin. But again, if you pretty much stop Jonathan Taylor in that running game, you pretty much stop that whole offense. I don't believe in James Blackman. I mean, the guy was terrible at Florida State. I don't think he'll be any better in Wisconsin, even though he does play. He's going to be playing behind a better offensive line. I just don't see Wisconsin competing with Michigan this year. Army's going to be a pretty decent team this year. But again, you get them at home. You know, you always have a little bit of trouble with those triple option teams. Don't be one of those teams that, you know, slips up versus one of them. Oklahoma, obviously, last year almost slipped up versus Army at home. So again, don't get caught in that trap. I think you'll win that game, though. You'll beat Rutgers. Iowa's a pretty good quarterback. They have a pretty good defense. They have a solid defense. But again, it's not at Iowa. At Iowa's a very tough place to play. You get them in Michigan, you should win that game. And at Illinois, they're one of the worst teams in all of the Big Ten. If you don't win that game, you don't deserve to compete for the Big Ten title or anything like that. Okay, so getting out of the way. Now, I'm going to highlight this Penn State game. At Penn State. I think that's a loss. I really do. I struggle with this game. I almost picked Michigan to win this game, but again, I just don't see Michigan winning this game at Penn State for a couple reasons. Last year, look, I'm gonna say this right now. Penn State will have this game circled in their schedule. They always have Michigan circled in their schedule. Last year, Michigan won that game 42-7. Okay, it was a blowout. This team is going to be motivated for this game. I don't think people take into account emotion enough when picking football games. Penn State, off emotion alone, is going to be hyped for this game. Now, obviously, they do lose Trace McSorley. They lose Miles Sanders, okay? Two players that were pretty much the heart and soul of their team last year. They do lose a very talented defensive back from last year. But again, it's at Penn State. It's gonna be a whiteout game. While I do think Michigan will be able to score on Penn State, I do think Michigan's defense will give up some points. Okay, this is one of those games where if inexperience and you guys losing players on defense will show up, this is the game for it to show up. Okay. It's on the road at Penn State. One thing you cannot teach is experience. You just have to learn through it. You have to go through it. You have to actually play in games. Nothing can prepare you for the whiteout atmosphere at Penn State. Penn State's one of the 5 hardest places to play at night, arguably the hardest, okay? It's on the road. James Franklin's a very good head coach. They have a solid defense. They got Micah Parsons. They got Gross Matos, okay, a very good pass rusher too. I like Penn State's linebackers. I like their pass rush. They do lose some players on offense, but again, I just don't think I think Michigan's inexperience will definitely show up in this game, and you'll lose. Okay, now you have to turn around and play Notre Dame at Maryland, and then Michigan State at home, and then we'll go over the Indiana game too. I see all 4 of those as wins. I do. I see all 4 of them as wins. To me, Michigan is better than pretty much every team on their schedule except maybe Ohio State. They're a better team than all these teams on paper, okay? Just on paper at least. On paper at least. Okay? Now, Notre Dame is going to have a bye week before they play you. So could Notre Dame steal a game in Michigan? Yes, they could. But again, I thought Michigan last year was the better team even when Notre Dame beat them. I did think if the game was played in Michigan last year, Michigan would have beaten Notre Dame probably by about 10 or maybe 14 points. I think Michigan's the better team. I do think Notre Dame will take a step back. They do lose some key players on defense. It's on the road for Notre Dame. I have Michigan beating Notre Dame. I just think they're the better team. Their offense is better than last year. They will not struggle as bad as they did last year to score points versus Notre Dame. They get them at home. You should win the game. At Maryland is a dub. They're not a better team than you. Michigan State at home. Listen, I'm going to be real with you. I've never seen a more delusional fan base than Michigan State. I have not. I've never seen a more delusional fan base than Michigan State. There's been people tweeting about Rocky Lombardi potentially being a Heisman candidate. Rocky Lombardi being a Heisman candidate. Brian Lewerke too. Man, but Michigan State, in all seriousness, they're a solid team. They're going to be improved this year. They had a down year last year. They had a lot of injuries. I have Michigan State winning 8 or 9 games this year, but again, it's in Michigan this year. You did beat them at Michigan State last year. That was their best opportunity probably in the last couple of years to beat you guys. I just think the gap between Michigan State and Michigan has pretty much opened pretty wide. I think Michigan's a better team. You'll win that game. Okay, I don't think Michigan State has the offense to score with you guys. I think they have the defense to compete, but they don't have the offense to score. But then after you play Michigan State, you have to go on the road to Indiana. Now, if anything, learn from Ohio State last year, okay? Well, pretty much learn from Ohio State because you can't beat them. Why not watch them, okay? But either way, a little bit of shot there. But either way, look, you saw last year with Ohio State. They almost lost to Maryland the game before they played you guys, okay? They almost lost to Maryland the game before they played Michigan. It's at Indiana. That is a trap game set up in itself. It is tough to play conference games before a big rivalry game. I think it's a crime. I think the College Football Playoff Committee or someone needs to go change this to the fact where you don't play conference games the game before a big rivalry game. It's set up for trappery. Indiana always has a very good defense, but they don't have the offense to compete with you guys. I think you're a better team. You'll squeak out probably a tough win. This game probably is going to be closer than it should be, but you'll beat Indiana. Now the big game. Ohio State versus Michigan. Is it finally the year that Jim Harbaugh breaks through? Is it finally the year? Is it finally the year? My answer to you is no. It's not the year that Jim Harbaugh breaks through. I don't see... Look. You have a good chance to beat Ohio State this year. You really do. Last year, I didn't think Michigan... people kept telling me Michigan was going to beat Ohio State last year. I kept telling them, no, they won't. There's no shot Michigan beats Ohio State. Now, for me, I didn't think it would be a blowout. But I was taking all bets. I said, there's no way Ohio State and Urban Meyer's last season at Ohio State with Dwayne Haskins, with that offense, with the wide receivers they had, they were not going to lose to Michigan. This year, I don't feel that way. I feel like the gap between Ohio State and Michigan is very, very close, okay? I think Michigan's right there. But there's a couple factors that factor into me picking Ohio State to beat Michigan once again. For one, can you trust Michigan? They have to go out and prove to me that they're going to beat Ohio State. I mean, they went to bed every time they face Ohio State. I mean, it's just a reality situation, okay? But Ohio State does return 10 players on defense, okay? 10 players on defense. Chase Young is going to be probably one of the top 3 picks in the upcoming draft. They have very good elite linebackers, okay? They have very good defensive backs. Jeffrey Okudah and Shaun Wade are very, very good. Malik Harrison is a first-round pick at the linebacker position, okay? They have very good defensive tackles. They have the personnel to match up with Michigan's offense and wide receivers, okay? The defensive backs for Ohio State should be very good. Ohio State will have a top 10 defense this year. Do not let last year fool you. That was inexperience on Ohio State's part, showing it was not lack of talent, okay? Ohio State is a talented team defensively. And the other thing is Justin Fields, okay? Justin Fields, okay? I think Justin Fields is a dynamic player. And to me, he's a matchup nightmare for Don Brown in this Michigan Wolverines defensive scheme, okay? Don Brown, over the past couple years, when they faced Ohio State, when JT Barrett went undefeated versus Michigan, he ran all over Don Brown's defense, okay? He couldn't pass the ball. JT Barrett could not pass the ball to save his life. But what he could do, He could run the ball, and he could move the chains, okay? He ran the ball up and down Michigan's throat. I'm going to tell you something right now. Justin Fields is a better runner and faster runner than JT Barrett, and he is a way better thrower. Ohio State returns enough on offense to where they will not have that big of a drop-off, okay? I like Justin Fields. I think he's a very good player. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, a second-rated player in his entire recruiting class, behind Trevor Lawrence, okay? So Justin Fields is a dynamic player. I think Ryan Day is a good coach. I think Ohio State's defense is the difference in the game, and Justin Fields' ability to run the ball, okay? You know, I just think Ohio State is still the better team. I really do. Michigan's inexperience on defense will definitely show in this game as well. Like I said, one thing you can't do is you can't teach experience. You just have to go through it. And these young players are going to realize real quick what an Ohio State-Michigan game is the time they suit up them cleats and get on the field, okay? I have Ohio State beating Michigan once again. Unfortunately for Michigan fans, I'm sorry, but I just don't see you beating Ohio State this year. Again, Michigan, I would not be shocked if you beat Ohio State. I'm not taking any bets on this game. It was a coin flip for me, pretty much. I just went with Ohio State because I think they have the better team. They return a lot more players on defense than you guys do. But either way, I got Michigan going 10-2. Unfortunately, not beating Ohio State, but again, probably going to make a New Year's Six Bowl. This is still a very successful season for Michigan. I don't think Jim Harbaugh's on the hot seat yet, but if he don't beat Ohio State this year, I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to be on the hot seat next year. He's going to be on the hot seat. So, look, Michigan, if you don't beat Ohio State this year, pretty much wrap it up. Because next year, you have to go to Columbus, Ohio. You probably could beat Ohio State, but again, I'm going with 10-2. I could see a loss to Notre Dame. I could see you beating Penn State. I actually could see you going undefeated up until that Ohio State game. But again, I think Michigan has a very good chance to win the Big Ten. I would not be shocked if Michigan beats Ohio State and wins the Big Ten and goes to the playoffs. But again, I'm rolling with Michigan going 10-2 in 2019-2020. That's a wrap for this video. Be sure to smash this like button right now if you're rocking with your boys. Subscribe to this channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. It's my favorite thing in the world to do to make these YouTube videos and content for you guys. The best thing you guys can do to help support this channel is to just share this video with all your friends. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. A fun fact about me is I want to become one of the next great sports analysts in the world. Okay, I want to become one of the next Shannon Sharps, Skip Baylesses, Stephen A. Smiths. Okay, you know, Ryan Clark's, you know, whoever. You get the point. Max Kellerman, too. You know, the best thing you guys can do to just help support that dream is to share this channel with all your friends. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. Get people hip to watching these videos and like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys for watching. I love all you guys. I love all my subscribers. And I'm Ghost. Have a blessed day. All you guys, I'm out.